Hi guys, this is Ekenedli School and welcome to the Ekenedli School channel, everything tech and lifestyle. Today we are going to be talking about a very important topic that a lot of people who want to know about. So I've had a couple of friends who wanted to go into web developing or become a web developer, ask me what are the necessary things that anyone who wants to go into web developing should have or possess. So today I'm going to be talking about the top four things you need to become a web developer. So yes, I reduced them to just four so that you see how easy this should be. It's not something that you should be thinking it that hard or stressing yourself so much. So this is just four things that every developer needs, and you would understand why I grouped them into the section that I grouped them into. So yes, this is the Ekene School channel. Subscribe to the channel, like and share the video. Also, remember to comment if you have something or a question you want to me to answer. Always remember I am one click away. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. This is the Ekene School channel, and today we are going to be talking about the four things you need to become a web developer. Stay tuned. All right. So, four things you need to become a web developer. Now, the first one is HTML and CSS. Let me take you here quick. Let's open this. Good. The first one is HTML and CSS. So this is the basic for anybody who wants to go into web development. Although there are other tools such as Python that can be used to do web development or to build web apps and websites, but the basic which everybody use, and HTML is currently and always updated. So you should try as much as possible to follow our number one, HTML and CSS. So there are a lot of frameworks like Bootstrap, Materialize CSS, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of frameworks that has to do with HTML and CSS. But the thing is, if you do not understand, if you do not understand HTML and CSS, you will not be able to understand Bootstrap or Materialize CSS. You might not be able to understand what to do and how to use them and how to bend them to your will. So, the first thing we are going to be dealing on here, or the first thing you will need to have as a web developer, is HTML and CSS. Now, a quick one. HTML is simply hypertext markup language. So the H stands for hyper, the T stands for text, the M stands for markup, and the L stands for language. So there are a lot of people, a lot of school of thoughts that says that this is not a programming language, and a lot of other people still argues that it's a programming language, but it is called a markup language. So let's leave it there. All right. So we have CSS, which goes right alongside with HTML, the blue knight that goes right alongside with HTML. So CSS means cascading style sheet. So it's a style sheet used for beautifying our HTML. So basically what the HTML does is allow you place your input. So the HTML is like the skeletal structure of your website. You want to put in paragraphs, the words that you're going to put in, the images you're going to put in, the sound you're going to put in, the videos you're going to put in, and so on and so forth. So HTML is like the skeletal structure of every website. Good. So now the Blue Knight CSS is a protector of HTML, like I like to call it. So it's a protector of the HTML. It enwraps the HTML and makes the HTML looks more better. So the CSS, sorry, is more like the skin, which is of the on top of the skeletal structure. So this is your fine face, your beautiful nose, your slender arms, your beautiful skin, and so on and so forth. So the CSS is just a language or a tool that helps beautify the HTML. So your styling, how you style your CSS, your color, your background, what you could add, the width, the length, and so on and so forth. So these are what the CSS does, the blue knight. Now remember, I call it the blue knight because the knight is supposed to protect the king. So the Blue Knight does his work by enwrapping itself around the king, which is the HTML, and making the HTML look much more beautiful. So that is the thing about HTML and CSS. So our number one is HTML and CSS. So there are a lot of places that you can get HTML and CSS from. You could go to my website, my YouTube channel. Let's log on to YouTube. Let's get a quick one. Okay, here we are. It's coming up. Good. I have good network. All right, so we click on this icon here, my channel. Good. So, understanding the concept of HTML. So, I've already uploaded a video about 2 weeks ago, understanding the concept of HTML. So, this video will give you the insight on what to expect on how to go about HTML. And for CSS, I'm currently developing a video that would also help do that. All right. So, these and many other, you can also go to different places to get HTML videos. You can go to YouTube and just search for HTML and CSS videos, and you will see a couple of other things there that would enable you or help you understand better what HTML and CSS is. But I already have a video here on my YouTube channel, on this YouTube channel, that would help you understand the basic concept of HTML. Good. So, number two, let us go right into it. Number two, good. So, number two is a programming language. Yes, like I said, HTML and CSS. HTML is the skeletal structure, and CSS is the skin on the skeleton and the muscles and all that, your height and so on and so forth. Now, you need something, you need to put on a dress, right? You need to wear designers, you need to wear Timberland, what are the most recent, Louis Vuitton, and so on and so forth. So, you need a programming language that would enable you to be able to give functionality to your HTML and CSS. And for that to happen, you need to understand any of the HTML, any of the programming languages that are currently looking at you on the screen. So, some of my favorites are Java, Python, JavaScript, C, PHP, and C++. But they are so much more. They are more than 100 programming languages that are currently in existence. There is Go, there is Ruby, there's Object, Pascal, VB, and so on and so forth. So, out of all this, I am a JavaScript programmer. So, you could actually go further to understanding JavaScript. So what JavaScript does is that it provides functionality to the website. You want to fill a form, you want to send an automated email, you want to make the website function in a way that it needs to without you actually being there. So these are the stuffs that JavaScript or any other programming language does. So all you need to do is to be able to understand exactly what you are looking for in the programming language. So later on, I will tell you about the top 5 programming languages and why you should pick what is best suited for you. So Java, JavaScript, C, PHP, Perl, C++, Python, VB, Ajax, and so much more. So all you need to know is HTML is the skeletal structure of a website. CSS is the muscles and the skin of that website. And then JavaScript, the programming language, is the clothes, the fancy clothes or the non-fancy clothes that you wear when there's cold. What do you wear? JavaScript describes that. When it is sunny, what do you wear? When you're going to the beach, what do you wear? And all that and all that. So basically, JavaScript or the programming language just adds a little bit of functionality to your website. Okay, so once again, I am going to show you videos on my YouTube channel that you can use to make yourself understand JavaScript a little bit. So I have uploaded one a month ago, how to solve algorithms using JavaScript. So with JavaScript, you could do a lot of things, not just work on websites. You could also work on applications. You could also work on front end applications and also back end applications. So JavaScript is a very powerful. It didn't used to be that way, but currently JavaScript can do a lot of things, and I am a big fan of JavaScript. I love JavaScript to the core. I prefer it to other programming language. Anyway, other programmers, please don't mind me. I'm just a big fan of JavaScript. All right, so that is what you should be understanding. HTML for the first one, and CSS for the second one, programming language. And then let us move right to the third one. Okay, so number three, we have ourselves a laptop. Now, I'm putting this at number three. It's supposed to have come up at number one, but I'm putting this at number three because this is very important for you to understand. Okay, this is very important for you to understand. Why am I saying what I'm saying? Now, when you want to go into web development, this is the mistake I made some time ago. When you want to go into web development, always consider the specification of the website, the laptop, sorry, the laptop you are using. Consider the specification of the laptop you are using. It is very, very important. So some time ago, 2017, when I started web development, my first laptop, which I was using in school because I was studying computer science at the time, was just a 1 gig RAM with a 258 gig hard drive. And the worst of all, it was a 1.5 gigahertz processor speed, which wasn't good at all. When I needed to install things to work with it, it bounced me off. When I needed to do a couple of things to make it better for me, it also bounced me off. So you should understand that when you're going for a system or a laptop, it is going to be your best friend because you are going to be working with the laptop a lot, a whole lot. So go for a laptop with at least a 2 gig RAM, at least a 2 gig of RAM, but I would prefer you go for a 4 gig RAM. The laptop I'm currently using is a 4 gig RAM, a 64-bit architecture system. Oh yes, that the other one that I used, my first laptop was a 32-bit architecture system. And that is why so many things could not install on it even when I needed them to. So your architecture system should be 64-bit architecture system. Your RAM should be at least a 2 gig RAM to start for starters, but I would recommend a 4 gig RAM. Your hard drive space should be 500 disks hard drive, but you can still manage 300 if that's what you have. But I would recommend a 500 disks hard disk space, and then Windows 10. Very important. I think Windows is trying to shut down support for the past eras of their production, the past Windows, Windows 7, and the others that came before it. So, if you are using a Windows 7, you should know this right now. Node.js is not going to install on it. Node is not going to install. And you need Node if you want to run npm. You don't know what this is or what I'm talking about right now until you get hooked when you want to do some of this. I'm going to tell you all those things in the future. You will, later videos will come up. So I'll talk about Node and npm later on. But you need a Windows 10 operating system. Good. So how do I know what my specifications are? Good question, but very simple. What do we do? So let's just hold on your Windows key and E to open Windows Explorer. Now, if you are using a Windows 10, it will display this PC here. You see where this is? To display this PC. Right click on it. Once you've right clicked on it, click on Properties. Go down and click on Properties. So it should open up in a minute. Good. So here it is. Note that this is Windows 10. Where is that? Good. This is Windows 10 Pro. So I'm using a Windows 10 Pro operating system. Very important. If you do not do this, you are going to have so much problems on trying to install. So as I told you before, installed RAM 4 gig. So your RAM needs to be 4 gig preferably, but you can use a 2 gig RAM, but I don't recommend that. It's not really good when you're doing that. Then your system type, your architectural system should be a 64-bit operating system, a 64-bit processor. 32-bit, Windows is just trying to support you. Many things don't install in a 32-bit anymore. So you need to understand that. And at least a 2.5 gigahertz processor. You see here that I'm using a Core i5. So most of the things I want to install are installed. So my system is perfectly updated and completely ready for me to work with. Do you understand? So this is how to check your Windows system and everything that comes with it. So, final, we are going to be talking about the last one, which is number 4. We are going to be talking about data, time, and interest. Now, most people who tell you the things you need to get to have to get started don't tell you about these three. And I group them in this same category because you just need to understand what it is you need to have. So data, first of all, you are going to be working online most of all. You are going to be working online most of all. So you need to understand that you need data. Okay? You need to get ready to burn a lot of data. Well, you already burn a lot of data online, you're going through Instagram, Facebook, watching YouTube videos and things that don't add value to your life, I'm guessing. But with this, knowing that you need data, you can actually keep some of the data you would burn on social media to actually help you in becoming a web developer. So that's data. So we have time. Being a web developer takes a lot. So you need to learn. I am a self-taught web developer, and it took me about from 2017 now to be able to be strong perfectly in it because I taught myself and I had to make mistakes along the way. I had to take contracts and then force myself to do those jobs And then some of them blew up on me, and some of them I was able to learn as I moved on and got back to the client and deliver to the client. So you need to be able to put up time for your learning. It is important. Then interest. Let me just say this. Tech pays a lot. A lot. There are people who are making mad money from this. So if you are coming into web development or anything tech just because of the money that's involved in it, you will get frustrated because there's so much work to be done, and there's most of the time little or no, not even enough time that you need to get those works done. And if you do not like what you are doing, if you're not interested in what you are doing, you will flop out. So, data, time, and interest. Remember that you need these three to be able to keep up with what you are doing. All right, this is the Ekene Digital channel. This is the Ekene Digital channel. Everything tech and lifestyle. Do not forget to subscribe, share, and like. And if you have any questions, just drop them down below and I'll respond to you immediately I get to see that. All right. So I am Ekele and thank you for going through this video with me.